So what I'm going to be talking about here today is heart-led versus strategy-based launching, and how do you go about creating the perfect launch that has the most maximum of impact. And those of you who don't know me that well yet, or it's been a while since you've been in my space, just as a quick introduction, my name is Zoe Freya. I have, within the span of 1 year, created a multiple six-figure business. And so I would say that I have succeeded in creating some good launches throughout the time. And throughout the last year, after I had my first multiple six-figure year, I have maintained having 5 and 6 figure months every month since then. So it's a great space to be in. I'm very blessed, and I have had a fantastic run with my business. So of course, I'm very happy about that. So today we want to be talking about heart-led strategy or a heart-led launch. And what is that? Basically, how I see that is the strategy bit is kind of the masculine force or the masculine energy. It is doing things the correct way and using these launch systems, these launch strategies that I've taught within my container. I have this current container right now that's called Wolf, but I've also had a mastermind and multiple courses last year as well in how to do business, and both covering the strategic side of like, this is the method that normally works, and this is how you write a good post, and this is how you show up in order for you to have maximum impact. But I also touch upon this feminine side of being soul and heart led. So what does really make a perfect launch, in my opinion, or in my experience? So in my perspective, how we use our intuition is there's kind of two parts to it. So when we have worked with our intuition a lot, when we hear our intuition very clearly, that is in the instance of you having actually spent the time listening to your intuition and following it for a really long time, right? Now, I believe that everyone has access to intuition and can create a life that they absolutely love based in using your intuition. And this whole aspect of having a business is quite different. So how do we use that intuition within our business in a way to like feel like we're completely embodied and present within our business, and how we go about using these strategies? So intuition is something that when we have worked with it a lot, and we are able to tap into powers that is kind of beyond our own capabilities or understandings as a human being on this earth in this timeline. I believe that using your intuition, once you have done that for a long time and you start to sense more and have more of a psychic, more of a like, okay, this is the interconnectedness of things, and you're able to tap into wisdom that is beyond what you should be able to have, and more than just that very subtle gut feeling. When we are like entering the realm of being more psychic, that's when intuition gets really, really interesting, and when we can actually also use it to create new strategies, right? And when we are not yet at the point in our lives or in our business, our intuition can be more of a subtle whisper, if you will. And at that point, I believe that strategy has a space, right? So strategy, as I've been teaching it in my programs, like some of the things that I've been teaching my clients in Wolf and in my previous programs has been like, this is the launch system that I've used to create 6 figures in a launch, right? And these are the kind of lead generation that you can do. These are the kind of posts that you can make, and not saying like copy paste this specific way of doing things, but like this is a structure that you can use, and like generally this gives a profitable output. Like it becomes so dry when you talk about strategy. And when we use strategy as it is taught, it can definitely work, and it can work really well. And if you are not on board with this strategy, it does not matter how well, like you can do all of the same things as another person, write the exact same posts, do the exact same things, make the same kind of videos as this other person. But if they're on board with it and like completely fucking believe in everything that they're doing, and they're like, yes, I'm going to do this. This feels fucking amazing. I'm on board with this. This is so much fun. I'm just enjoying myself. And I believe that this is going to result in me having the success that I desire, and you not holding that same energy, and you not believing in those things, and you just generally feeling like this kind of strategy feels off for me. We can be doing the exact same thing, but it's not going to output the same results, if that makes sense. So that's why when we use our intuition to guide how we show up in our business, if we are not very trained in using our psychic abilities, and we're not like easily able to tap into that interconnectedness of things, and the community consciousness, if you will, if that is not something that we have trained, we use our intuition in a way that is also filtered through our own shadow consciousness, and is also filtered through our own knowledge, right? So that's why in my programs, I teach all of these strategies to have all of that wisdom imprinted in your mind, so that you can go ahead and use it with your intuition once you have filtered through all of that shadow consciousness that might show up. So when I say shadow consciousness, it basically means that there's an aspect of your personality, or like what you deem as your personality or your person, that is not actually in truly alignment with where it is that you want to be going, and what kind of results that you want to make in your life and in your business. So say that you are going to have a launch, right? You're going to sell something, which is amazing. So congratulations to you. And throughout this process, you want to have a really good time. You want to feel really good while you're launching. You want all of the people to be commenting on your things, and you want to get all the feedback, and you want people to join your program. That's like generally what people desire when they go into a launch. And so all while this is happening, you have this shadow consciousness saying to you that to be truly successful, you have to work really hard, right? So how that may be expressed in your outer reality is that you actually start doing all of the strategy. You end up doing way too much. You may even come off a little bit desperate because you're doing all of the things and you're not really like being calm about it, because you have in the back of your mind a belief that's saying you have to work hard to get these results. So at the other end, you're not having all of the fun that you wanted to have. You give off this weird vibe for the people that's like seeing your content, and then you're not ending up getting the result that you want, right? So that's why we always work with shadow work in my programs, is because we want to make sure that everything that you do does not get filtered by something that's actually standing in the way of you having the results that you truly desire, if that makes sense. Oh, we have more people joining on the Zooms. That's amazing. Hello, everyone. Nice to see you. Nice to see you, everyone. Please say hi if you're joining. If you're with me from Facebook, please drop a comment in the comment box below. So that is one way that can be expressed by you having a belief that it has to be hard work. You end up doing all of the things and not getting the results that you truly desire because you have this belief that's kind of standing in the way of you succeeding in the way that you want to. And how it can also show up as is if you have this belief that it's going to be hard work to have a launch, you may not do any of the things that you're meant to be doing in order for you to have the results that you want, because you feel like even having this launch is too hard work. It's not going to happen for you. Like, it's like you do not want to be stressed out. So you end up not doing half of the things that you're meant to be doing. And so you don't get the results either, right? Most often what I see with a lot of my clients is that they overwork themselves, because most of them are like hella fucking ambitious, but they all have this underlying belief that it has to be hard work. So they set themselves up to be really, really stressed. And when you have the expectation that something is going to stress you out, it will inevitably stress you out because you're already stressing about the stress that might happen, right? So our intuition can be guided through the shadow consciousness, because you might in the now where you are with this belief that it is hard work to have a launch, then when you're asking your intuition, what should I do today? And you're the kind of person that's like, you think that you have to work really hard to get the results. So your intuition might be like, do all of the things, do the things, because it's like guided towards, well, I know that we have to get this result. And you also have plugged in this feature of the results that you want to have is, okay, but it's also going to be hard work, right? So that's why we always filter through all of those beliefs that we might hold, all of the patterns and all of the subconscious that is like maybe trying to mess you up a little bit, our little monkey mind, so that we can not only have the results, but also have it in a way that feels really good and be able to create the results that we want. Yeah. So intuition is guided through the filters of our beliefs. So therefore, it is so important that we do that inner work and we reprogram our subconscious mind to actually believe that having a launch can be really fun and it can be really, really easeful. And once we hold that belief and we don't have any subconscious filtering going on from our shadow consciousness that's trying to mess us up a little bit and trying to or at least filtering us to go towards a specific direction that we don't actually want to go in. Once we have done that work, it is so much easier to guide with intuition and actually do the things that is necessary for us to have a good launch and get the results that we want. So the work that we always do is like filter through all of those beliefs and set your mind and set the intention, set the direction of where it is that you want to be going. So having your intuition as kind of like your partner in this process also means being very specific on what you want, how you want it. Yeah, so whenever you're setting the intention for what kind of results that you want in your business, it can be, maybe I want to make 15K US dollars this month. That would be absolutely amazing, right? Setting that intention, but also setting the intention, and I want it to be really easeful. How, intuition, do I do that? Now, what then happens is, if you are not really like evolved within your psychic abilities, you might like the ideas that might come to you will be probably within your comfort zone and in the sphere of things that you know about strategy, right? And this is why knowing that bit more about strategy, about what different approaches that there is, like, okay, so how do I do a 5-day training in a way that normally converts? How do I make a masterclass in a way that really converts? How do I show up for conversations with my potential clients in a way that that the right people like end up choosing to work with you? Knowing all of these strategies is going to help you in navigating towards what will be the right thing for you to do right here, right now. Because your intuition plugs into like, what is the knowledge that I have? What can we do in order for us to get that result? And it's going to point you towards the direction of maybe you need to go get some advice from this person, or maybe you can do this instead. Or if you know some good strategies, you can use the strategy, right? Whatever also feels good to you, and whatever strategy is in alignment with who you are in this current moment. And here's the kicker. The first time that we apply a strategy, we are learning something new. So if you can imagine, or if you can think of how it felt when you were back at school, like when is the last time that you've learned something new, where you really had to like, maybe you had to learn a certain like math formula, what's that called in English, like how you solve a certain mathematical question, right? Once you learn this new strategy of solving this problem. Oh, my camera is being weird. Why? Okay. The first time that you use this new strategy or method to solve a problem that is in front of you, the first time that you learn how to do that, it is going to inevitably take more bandwidth than once you've done it 20 times, right? So every time we do something new that we've never done before, it's quite strenuous for us, right? It takes up some energy, and therefore it doesn't always feel easeful when we're trying something new out the first time. That is also why when we're trying out a new strategy or a launch system, or we're making a funnel, or we're making a web page for the very first time that we're doing any of those things, it will take us longer time, we will get more tired, it will probably not feel great, right? So that's why I want you guys to be like aware that this is actually a thing, because you might be pointed towards a direction of using a specific strategy, and then you have your monkey mind saying, I don't want to do that strategy, it's a lot of work, blah, 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 I'm not going to do that. So I'm just going to do half of the thing, right? So when that happens, when you're making the decision on your approaches to how you want to launch your program or your mastermind, whatever you're selling, your one-on-ones, you might want to sit down and think, like, have a chat with your intuition and ask yourself, if I am mega fucking expensive and I hold the belief that I can do this work, even if it requires a bit more of me this time, what should I do to get that result, right? So whenever we're just over in like, I'm just going with the flow, I'm just going with the intuition, I'm just being very much in our feminine energy, we might forget some of these really, really good approaches that might help us in our business. Now, I feel like this past year have been very feminine based, so you will get a long way just by using your intuition. But the energy is also shifting a little bit to become more merged within both the masculine and the feminine paradigm. And so it is the time to be able to merge those approaches do the inner work, be in flow, make sure that you feel good, make sure that you are so nourished, make sure that you're being very gentle on yourself all throughout the launch. Don't stress too much. Listen to your intuition always. And it is a really fucking good idea to know some of these strategies that can help you in having a successful launch. Now, that doesn't mean that we always must use these strategies, like follow them to a T. Definitely not. But once you have learned them and you master them and they feel easeful for you, and that will happen in due time once you've done something once or twice. So an example of that is like last summer, I launched my mastermind for people who want to make like 15 to 100K months. And so that's US dollars, by the way. I had a launch then, and I did a 5-day challenge, and I did that challenge or event, whatever you want to call that. I did that over 2 rounds. Now, the first round, I was like so prepared and I'd like done everything correctly, and I was absolutely fucking drained, right? It's exhausting trying out a new strategy, especially when you've never done anything like that before and you've never like had to hold the energy of doing that for such a long time. And then I did that just like with the ripple throughout last week. And the energy that I came into it with was completely different. It was so much more relaxed. And I didn't follow the perfect strategy because I wanted to try something new and I just wanted to have fun with it. And I wanted to teach on some things that I really thought was profound and really thought was important to get shared, right? And so I know the strategy, I know exactly how it works. I know that what I can like volume up on and what I can volume down on if I so please. But I can also be guided by my intuition and use this framework of this 4-day event to potentially get a bigger reach to some new people, and new people get to know me and get to know my methods, right? And so this time when doing this event, it was so much more relaxed and it felt so much better. And like the strategy works when we know it and when we follow it. And when we are tapping into something that's pure inspiration, pure intuition, then we do not need strategy, because it can be so sudden that we get that result, or we get that those people that is interested in what it is that we're offering. So I would always say that, like, when you find the right thing, you do not need the perfect strategy in order for you to get people into your field and want to work with you. When you have the exact right thing, that's like, this is the time, this is your calling, this is like perfect alignment, then it doesn't matter if you have all of a strategy, because you will just be going with the flow of things. But strategy also has its space, where once you have learned the strategy, you won't have to work so hard to do small things that require very little effort from you, that will have a huge impact. And then an example of that is something that I always teach in all of my business programs, is the perfect masterclass, right? Or the high converting masterclass. And it is because it is a method that requires actually quite little time, but it has a huge impact in terms of the results that you can get by using it. That's why I love doing masterclasses, or I've at least done that a lot previously. Now I'm like testing out different methods because I think it's fun. And whenever I kind of lost my trail of thought. So I always teach these masterclass, or how to do a masterclass. But the first time I did that masterclass, the first time I used that method, it was a lot of work. Like I was sitting and planning this masterclass in extensive detail for hours, because first I had to see the teachings on how to like make a perfect masterclass, and then I had to like use the framework and like figure out how I'm going to use that and how I'm going to use the perfect title and all the things in order for me to get the result that I want from having just this one masterclass, right? And that's the thing with strategy. Like whenever we're learning how to do something for the very first time, it is going to be more work. It's going to require more energy from you. So when we have mastered that skill, it is so much more easy. And then we have this repertoire of approaches that we can use whenever we're having a launch. So when you're having a launch, it is so important for you to be able to dance with both of those sides. Now, always remember that when we're like dipping into something perfect, it can be so much more easy than if we have doubts about ourselves and if we have all of this shadow coming up for us, that is kind of like holding us back in a way and not letting us shine in our fullest potential. So do that shadow work. Be aware of how you might be sabotaging yourself. Be aware of like where you are telling yourself that it's hard work, so you don't do the work. Be aware of like, are you just doing something because it feels comfortable, or will this actually result in you growing, right? Because we want to be in that tiny bit of uncomfortability when we are growing, and especially like when we're growing our business. But it is also so fucking important that we have a good time with having our business, and that we can have fun with it, and that we can listen to our inner guidance. So I'd love to hear if any one of you have any questions. Hello to everyone that's watching on Facebook, and to you who's watching on Zoom. Amazing. Know that you can go really fucking far just by knowing very, very simple strategy and navigating that with your intuition and what feels good to you. Know that it is so important that whatever strategy you choose to do, be it completely intuition led, be it completely strategy led, that whatever you do, that every single bit of you is on board with what it is that you're going to be doing, that there's not any part of you that's like trying to hold back from doing the things that is necessary for you to have the results that you want. Make sure that you are fully, completely committed to doing the actions that's necessary. Although, like, it's all about just showing up, showing your face, and if you have the right thing, if it's fucking on point, and you get out to those people and those people can hear you, they're going to resonate with you. And that's why we can employ these strategies, just to make it really, really easy for people to see you, to make it really, really obvious that you have something amazing to offer, right? Now, in my programs, I've taught like something as simple as lead gen, right? How we're doing a lead gen up to a launch, and how we have these events, and how we do these perfect videos in order for you to get the results that you want. How you can make social media posts, and we're also going to do a masterclass on email funnels with help from my email lady that has helped me previously. I teach it in a very like, this is the perfect method of, this is how you do things. This is like the perfect version of this method. But know that if you're using your intuition to guide you, you don't have to do things perfectly. It doesn't have to be perfect for you to get amazing results. Like, I have made 100K US dollars in a month based off just social media posts, just post on Instagram, right? And that was completely without having a 5-day event, completely without having a masterclass. You don't need all of those things in order for you to get the results. It doesn't have to be perfect when it's the right thing. But sometimes, especially when we're starting out, it's nice to have some strategy that you can lean back to. And once you know the strategy, it is so much easier to navigate with your intuition on what to do and what not to do. So whenever you're doing a launch, get curious and see, like, what can I do to make this fun, and implement some of these things that you can test out and see, how does it feel for you? Does this feel good? Does this feel good? Do you want to try some other things? What can you try that's a little bit different this time around, until you find the method that feels perfect for you? And even once you find that perfect method, maybe you want to try something else at another time, because time changes and your energy changes. So be available and open for what can come down for you, what wisdom there is to tap into through your intuition, and spend a little bit of time learning all of those strategies so that your intuition cleverly can guide you towards the direction of what to do in order for you to have the results that you want. What strategies can you implement? So if you were to try something new this time around, let me know in the comment box. What kind of strategy are you going to use in this launch? Are you going to do like email marketing? Are you going to do a masterclass? Or are you just going to do post on Facebook or in Instagram? Or are you just going to use your intuition every day and setting yourself some goals and feeling into the energy and do all of that energy work, all of that magic work that I also love to do? So let me know in the comment box. And that's it for today. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much for watching this video, and have an amazing day. Bye, you guys.